Here's some hard truth for you. You might be brilliant at what you do, but if no one's talking about you, what's the point? You're invisible. And in 2025, invisibility is bad for business. You don't need more reels, you don't need more LinkedIn posts. You don't want to follow the crowd with everyone on LinkedIn talking about leadership. You need long-form trust. You need to borrow trust. That's why I believe everyone should be getting on more podcasts, especially if you're tired of blending in, not because it's trendy, but because it's the latest and fastest way to build recognition, trust, influence at scale. So let's get into it, because in this video, I want to really prove to you this is your way forward. Most people are stuck in the content hamster wheel. They're posting daily, they're trying to write viral hooks, they're using little softwares to try and see what's going to take them stratospheric. And in reality, that means you're not authentic and no one's going to even know who you are, even if they see one video that gets 1 million views. People are editing reels until midnight, getting stuck in CapCut tutorials and still nothing. No views, but more importantly, no added revenue to their business. Because likes and views really don't build trust anyway. They don't get you featured. They don't get you remembered. They might feel good in the short term, but in reality, I know people that have got millions of followers on different platforms, doing millions of impressions per week. They're unhappy, they're making no money, and they wish they had started by building trust. And again, like I say, borrowing the trust from other audiences. Because when someone listens to your voice for 30, 60, or 120 minutes, they hear you speak clearly, confidently, and honestly. You become unforgettable. That's the power of podcasting. People can see through you if you're trying to put on a persona on short form social medias that you're not actually like in real life. They can see through to your real character over that time. You don't need followers. You don't need a massive email list. You don't need to shout louder. You just need one good interview per month on the right show to tell the right story. So let's talk about people that are actually doing this well. Daniel Priestley has said publicly on Diary of a CEO that podcast guesting was the single biggest thing that moved the needle for his personal brand. Not ads, not viral posts, just showing up on podcasts and letting people hear how he thinks. Dr. Chatterjee, he launched a podcast to build long-form trust with his audience. Now it reaches millions. But here's the thing, even his guests benefit. I've seen founders land partnerships, inbound leads, and credibility from just appearing on his show once. Sun Yi, who works with some of the biggest names in personal branding, has said that if he had to grow all over again, he would go all in on podcasts. Not necessarily meaning start his own, maybe guesting, but the idea of using the leverage of the podcast stratosphere is what he said. And it's because it builds credibility faster than any other channel. And look, it's not just consultants and coaches doing this. You haven't got to be boring. You haven't got to wear a suit. There are so many ways of going about podcasting. Maybe you don't listen to enough podcasts right now to realize just how diverse the space has become, and it's still tiny. There are only about 4 million podcasts globally, and only about 200,000 are actually posting actively, let alone posting once a week or more, which is what you want to be doing if you're going to grow any traction. In the US, big creators like Logan Paul, Mr. Beast, the Sidemen in the UK, Emma Chamberlain, they're all being advised by their business advisors to start or go on, or a combination of both, podcasts. Why? Because they know that it builds loyalty. It's a bit like thinking about posting on Instagram, and you know that if Instagram goes down for a day, you've lost everything. So you try and get them onto an email list. Well, podcasting is the same because it's not on one platform, and therefore you can't lose it. It's your footage, it's your content. It's hosted in lots of different places. So you've built trust, but you've also got loyalty. And again, I'm going to keep saying borrow trust. Because when you meet someone in the middle and you both come together, someone who's got a good audience, not necessarily big, but loyal, and they meet your audience, there's a crossover there. There can be sparks, there can be fireworks, but the point is there is borrowed trust from each audience, and they can merge and they can switch. So you grow faster to genuine fans. And we know that conversation creates conversion. Why are we so big on things like pitching when we're trying to get investment for businesses? Or when someone goes and promotes a new movie, why do they go on all the different late night shows? It's because they know conversations will create the conversion to actually make the money. So it's not just content, it's a reputation engine. So I want to break that down. I want to show you why this actually works. So when you go on a podcast, you're not just talking, you're borrowing the trust. The host has built a relationship with their audience. You must remember that. They've earned the attention, they've earned the credibility, and they've earned respect from that audience. Whether you've got your own or not, doesn't matter what you've done. You've been invited onto their ecosystem. And so for 30 to 60 minutes, maybe longer, you get to plug directly into that. There's no algorithm there, there's no scroll, there's no distraction, just depth, presence, and authority. So if you do it right, people won't just remember you, they'll respect you, they'll Google you, they'll follow you, and they're gonna message you, they're gonna come into your world. We've seen it happen again and again. One of our clients landed a single interview that led to over $100,000 in new business in the first month. It wasn't even a huge show, just the right audience for what he was doing and his angle at the time. It was the right positioning, the right story. And so let's talk about where people go wrong. Most people think they need to wait to be invited. You know, when I get big enough, when I get a good enough audience, when I make enough money, when I win that thing, I'll be invited on podcasts. Or they go to shows unprepared. This is probably my biggest pet peeve, when someone turns up to a show unprepared. They think they've been invited, they can just sit in a chair, ask me questions, and I will give you my advice. What happens is they ramble, they oversell, they get distracted, they miss the moment, or worse, they think podcasting is just a nice to have content channel. It's not. You know, it's so annoying when someone comes on, maybe they bring their own videographer or their PR manager, and all they're doing is making reels in their mind. You ask a question and they're thinking, what reel can I make? They pause for too long, they try and think of a hook, and they answer your question, but in a reel towards their camera. I've seen it all before. I've seen multimillionaires screw up. I've seen people who have won incredible awards around the world just be overly arrogant about why they've been invited on. We know podcasting is our and your secret weapon, and not enough people are using it. And especially if you feel like you've been overlooked, podcasting lets you tell your full story, drop bold opinions, and create trust at scale, and also build a content library that compounds. You know that when you're scrolling down on Instagram or TikTok, if you see a really well-produced content clip from a podcast, if it's relevant to you and it's in your niche, or it's something that you are interested in, you're gonna stop and you're gonna listen for longer than a really quick reel where someone's fallen over. Like, what does that build? Nothing. It's entertainment. We're talking about entertainment and inspiration, as well as education. So while your competitors are still trying to go viral, they're editing or they're sending backwards and forwards clips to their team going, that's not quite right, I don't think the hook's right, you can actually make a real impact. And so if you're new to this, start here. Step one, craft your clear story. Not a resume, not a transformation, a shift, a moment. Step two is build a one-pager, something that when a good host or a good host team can invite you on or see, they can actually see exactly who you are in one go. Your credibility, angles you've spoken about, shows you've been on, what you've built, what you're gonna talk about that's different. This is your podcast pitch asset, so making sure it looks pro. Make sure it's credible. Step three, repurpose your interviews. Really lean into each interview you go on. Each episode can become 30 plus pieces of content if you do it right, high quality content. Step four is to build your own podcast list. So start with 50 of your dream shows that your dream clients have already listened to or are listening to, and pitch to them. Obviously, if you're gonna try and go after the ones that are doing 50 million downloads a month, that's probably not a great place to start. Start at a top 10% show. Go onto Listen Notes or Raphonic. Have a look at a top 10% show. So maybe they're doing 500 downloads per episode. That's a lot of people listening, even if it's top 10%. Find some of those shows to go on. And then when you get there, show up strong and let your voice do the heavy lifting. Practice some of the stories you're gonna tell. Practice the epiphanies. If you're tired of being the best kept secret, if you're doing great work but no one sees it, if you're fed up with shouting into the void on social media, then podcasting might just be your next power move. You don't need to make more noise, you recognize for what you already know. If you need any help, we've got so many resources on our website that can help you. This might just be the best thing that you do for your business. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.